Hey friends. So today I've got kind of an interesting one on my mind, and I knew I had to do this post when I felt myself getting a little afraid of doing it. Because what I felt like I needed to talk about it was just what was percolating in my mind were thoughts around privilege. And as a white male who's grown up with a fair amount of privilege, it's something that I have to reckon with, both just in terms of how the sort of actual nature of my life, and also in a kind of unflattering way sometimes, because we see, once we become aware that we are a privileged person, we have to kind of take stock of our place in the world in a different way, and what that, where we are and what we do, what our contribution is. These questions start to look different. And what was showing up for me this morning was just I had a sentence come through my mind that privilege is the ability to feel secure in an otherwise insecure world. That's really, there's a lot of definitions of privilege. I'm not supposing to supplant them, but that rings true for me. There's an underlying sense of security, and FYI, this sense of security can be well-founded, or it can be completely delusional, but it's there. And the way that plays out is that the nature of life and the events of life appear different when we have a sense of fundamental security that has in many ways been provided by people other than ourselves, right? That's one of the hallmarks of privilege, is that what has gone before serves us now. We're in a privileged position because we came in with a certain amount of built-in support or whatnot. And and I think about my life always, especially on this post, but I really try to do this, pretty much throughout my life. I think about my life as an ongoing spiritual practice. It's an ongoing evolution of consciousness practice. And privilege is problematic in that context in some ways, because whereas insecurity ultimately, insecurity is an illusion, right? Ultimately, we are this infinitely powerful consciousness. We are this infinitely, vastly omnipotent essence that has entered into a game of hide and seek. Right? God created a universe to know him, her, themself better, to create a reflection of God's infinite potential. And so we have to play hide and seek within that. And insecurity results out of the illusion of death, the illusion of scarcity. But in that sense, insecurity is one of the best teachers of spiritual lessons because it puts us in a position of being right up against the thing that seems to be threatening us. And if we can face that and recognize that what is threatened is not our essence, but rather our ego, then we obtain a profound spiritual lesson. We learn what we are up against the life and death illusion of the universe. Privilege lets us dose that feeling of insecurity. It lets us mute it. It gives us a sense, it gives us kind of a lever to pull where we can decide, okay, this is just a little too much. And that's great if your goal is to be a secure human. But I don't know that it's great if our goal is spiritual enlightenment. I think it's in the way of that goal. Because nobody wants to watch their ego die. We talk about this all the time, and it's important to, I think, take as conscious of a stance towards our ego as we can. We're constantly, if we're doing deep inner work, we're going to be examining our ego. We're going to be hopefully surrendering to the deaths that it's dying, because that's what it means to grow. That's what it means to become more of our essence and less of our ego. More in the world and less of the world. But having additional ways of skirting these messages from the universe is problematic from the point of view of spiritual practice. It's great from the point of view of, a guy in the world, but I think that there, I think that even beyond simply the, because what does that imply? That implies that privilege is also an impediment to evolution in some ways. Now, I don't think it has to be. I think it can be employed consciously, like anything else, like any other tool. But there's certainly a risk that people with privilege won't grow as much because we can opt out of that growth and just be comfortable. And comfortable and gradually more and more numb. Our consciousness just goes club. Because the discomfort, the intensity of life, we've got a mute button, or at least a volume knob. And, that's not a great trend, that's not a great that's not a great direction. And so I think what I'm trying to reckon with in myself as someone who experiences a fair amount of privilege is, what am I supposed to do? What's my responsibility? What's my calling? Again, if everything is a gift, right? If and one of my outgoing assumptions of anytime I'm speaking on this post, I try to come from the place that everything that happens to me is a gift from the universe. Now, I don't purport to claim that that is universally true for everyone. I've only had my experiences, and I can only take a stance with regard to my experiences. But that's my stance. And something like being privileged also falls into the category of things that the universe has offered me, right? It's another event, it's another set of circumstances in my life. So what is that gift evoking in me? What is it challenging me to do, to create, to be? Because history's littered with, privileged, horrible people and privileged saints. There's nothing predetermined about how we go about our life, whether we have privilege or whether we don't, wherever we are on the spectrum. And I think it must be also coming up because, you're born, you have a childhood, you get older, you become an adult, you have a family, you have a kid, and all of a sudden our own subconscious, our own totally just like intentional, the water we create, the psychic water we create that our child swims in, has an influence on them. So where I am in my own privilege journey, my own work with this, is having a day-to-day effect on someone else whose life is being shaped by it. So, and who furthermore also falls into a similar category because they're in my family, right? They're close to us. So what do we do with all that? What are we here to give? What are we here to receive? What are we here to create? What are we here to offer? These are questions that matter to me. They matter to my daughter. And they matter to many other people like me. And I think, it's the comfortableness of privilege that creates resentment about it. It's the ability to unplug from the insecurity, to mute the signal of you need to evolve, you need to grow, you need to wake up. It's when we use privilege to sort of close the blind and be like, I just need a nap right now. That's what I believe creates resentment around privilege, because it's like we're opting out of life we have the option to coast in a way, and that not only doesn't serve us because we're missing our own opportunity for spiritual evolution, but it also starts to feel like we're somehow wasting our status, our privileged status, because we're not doing anything with it. There could be an effect, a powerful effect for good, but we're kind of choosing to go, yeah, not right now. Just and again, I'm saying all this with a very kind of self directed gaze, because I want to be alive. I want to be fully alive. I want to live a real life. I want to contribute something that matters. The privileged status that I do have, I want to use it as a platform to help. Because God knows this world needs help. You look around, it's staggering. And I think the notion that we can tune, that privilege is the ability to tune out, or the ability to be comfortable in the insecurity, is becoming, in some ways, less true, or at least it's becoming more egregious. It's becoming really kind of a thing that like is conspicuously unconscious if we do it that way. So it feels like an important question. I don't have answers to all this, but I was afraid to say this. I immediately, when I was like, oh no, mind, don't give me these thoughts. Don't tell me I should do my post about this. No, fuck. Now I have to. Because there's a feels like a risky thing to broach. But if I can't open this up, if I defend this with so forcefully that I don't let it be seen, then I'm gonna be more likely to tune out. That's good. That's how tuning out manifests. So hopefully I will have more. I hope, not even hopefully, I know I will have more unpacking to do of this. But I feel like I said the scary thing, which is what I would have hoped I'd do. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Much love. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.